Some stories don't begin where you think they do. This one starts with a photograph. The woman holding it has hands that don't shake anymore. They used to. For 20 years, they shook every single day. But not today. Today, she stands outside a mansion in the hills of Northern California. Through the window, she can see him, the first man on her list. He's celebrating his daughter's wedding. He has no idea that the caterer who just walked through his back door is the girl he sold 20 years ago. Her name doesn't matter. She buried it the same day she buried her old life. What matters is what happens next. Because tonight, the ghosts stop hiding. But before we get there, we need to go back. Way back. To the day everything ended. And if you think you know where this is going, you don't. Type justice in the comments if you're ready for this story. 20 years ago, she was 17. A junior in high school. Decent grades. Loved art class. Had a poster of Leonardo DiCaprio on her bedroom wall. Normal. She lived in a small town in Ohio. The kind where everyone knows your name. Where you can't buy milk without running into your third-grade teacher. Safe. Or so she thought. Her mom worked 2 jobs. Her dad left when she was 9. Money was tight, but they were okay. They had each other. Every Friday night, they'd get Chinese takeout and watch old movies. Her mom would fall asleep on the couch by 9. She'd cover her with a blanket. These were the good days. The days before she met him. His name was Marcus. 24. Drove a nice car. Always had money. He started showing up at the diner where she worked weekends. Big tipper, friendly smile, asked about her day, made her feel seen. Looking back, she can see all the red flags. But when you're 17 and someone makes you feel special, you don't see red flags, you see possibilities. It started small. Need a ride home? Want to grab something to eat? You're too smart to stay in this town forever. Every conversation was a hook. Every compliment was bait. And she bit. 3 months after they met, he invited her to a party in Columbus. Said there would be college scouts there. Art schools. Her dream. She told her mom she was sleeping at a friend's house. She got in his car. She never came home. What happened next? We don't need to describe in detail. You're smart. You can fill in the blanks. Just know this. The girl who got in that car died that night. What survived was something else. Something colder. If you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever felt powerless, type "I see you" in the comments. Because this story, it's for you. For 3 years, she moved through a nightmare. Different cities, different rooms, different faces. She tried to escape twice. The first time, they found her in a bus station in Denver. Brought her back. Locked her in a basement for 2 weeks. The second time, she made it all the way to a police station in Phoenix. The officer who took her statement, he made a phone call. 20 minutes later, Marcus walked in, smiled. Said there'd been a misunderstanding. Said she was his girlfriend. Just a little fight. The officer believed him. She learned something that day. Something that burned itself into her brain. Nobody was coming to save her. If she was going to survive, she had to save herself. So she stopped fighting. She became quiet. Obedient. Invisible. She watched. She listened. She learned. She learned that Marcus wasn't the top. He answered to someone. A man they called the Collector. She learned that the Collector had 3 partners. Men who ran everything. Men who were untouchable. Rich, connected, protected. She memorized their faces, their names, their voices. She kept a list in her head, and she waited. Tense music. Narrator. The escape came on a Tuesday. Marcus got sloppy. Left his keys on the counter. Fell asleep, watching a football game. She didn't hesitate. She took the keys, took his wallet, walked out the door like she was going to check the mail, got in a car, and drove. She drove for 16 hours straight, stopped only for gas, paid cash, kept her head down. By the time Marcus woke up, she was 3 states away. She ditched the car in Louisiana, cut her hair in a gas station bathroom, bought a bus ticket to Florida, changed her name, became someone else. For 6 months, she lived on the streets of Miami, slept in shelters, ate at soup kitchens. She could have stayed invisible forever, but something inside her wouldn't let go. The list, the faces, the men who stole her life. She made a promise to that 17-year-old girl who got in Marcus's car. One day, they would pay every single one. Drop a fire in the comments if you think she deserves her revenge. Revenge isn't simple. It's not about showing up with a weapon and making a scene. That's anger. Revenge, real revenge, is cold, calculated, patient, and it requires becoming someone they'd never see coming. She started with a GED, studied at the public library, passed on her first try. Then came community college. She waitressed at night, studied during the day, slept 4 hours if she was lucky. She had a gift for numbers, for patterns, foreseeing what others missed. Business degree, then accounting, then financial analysis. While she was building herself back up, she was also building something else. A file on each of them. The collector, real name Richard Vaughn, owned a chain of luxury car dealerships across 5 states. Married. 3 kids. Donated to children's charities. The irony wasn't lost on her. Partner number 2, David Chen, real estate developer. Built half the condos in Seattle. His wife was on the board of a nonprofit for missing children. Again, the irony. Partner number 3, James Cordell, hedge fund manager, billionaire. Untouchable. And Marcus, still out there, still recruiting, still destroying lives. She spent 5 years just watching, learning their routines, their businesses, their secrets. She found the cracks in their armor. Richard Vaughn had a gambling problem. Offshore accounts. Money moving in strange patterns. David Chen was cutting corners on his developments. Bribing inspectors. Dangerous buildings that could collapse. James Cordell, he was the careful one. But everyone has secrets. She just had to dig deeper. By year 7, she had a plan. Not just revenge, not just payback, complete destruction. She would take everything from them, the way they took everything from her. Their money, their reputations, their freedom. And she would do it so carefully, so perfectly, that they wouldn't even see her coming. She started with a job. Richard Vaughn's company was hiring. Financial analyst position. She applied under her new name. Flawless resume. Glowing references from people she'd helped over the years. She got the interview. Walking into that building was the hardest thing she'd ever done. She was about to see him again. Face to face. The man who owned her for 3 years. He didn't recognize her. Why would he? She was just another girl. Another number. Another ghost. But she recognized him. And when he shook her hand and said, "Welcome to the team," she smiled. Game on. If you're still watching, type checkmate in the comments. Because this is where it gets good. She was perfect at her job. Quiet. Efficient. Always stayed late. Never caused problems. The model employee. Within 6 months, she was handling Richard's personal accounts. Within a year, she had access to everything. And what she found was beautiful. Years of criminal activity. Hidden in plain sight. Buried under legitimate businesses. Money laundering. Tax evasion. Fraud. But that wasn't enough. She needed the connection. The proof that tied him to the trafficking operation. She found it in an old email server. Messages he thought were deleted. Communications with David Chen. With James Cordell. With Marcus. Lists. Transactions. Payments. Everything. She copied it all. Encrypted it. Stored it in 3 different locations. Then she waited. Because timing is everything. While working for Richard, she was also making connections. She befriended a journalist who specialized in corruption cases. Fed her small stories. Built trust. She met an FBI agent at a coffee shop. Started a casual friendship. Never pushed. Just planted seeds. She volunteered at an organization that helped trafficking survivors. Listened to their stories. Reminded herself why she was doing this. One woman she met there was 19. Same age she was when she escaped. The girl was broken. Didn't think she'd ever feel normal again. She looked at her and said something she needed to hear 20 years ago. You're not broken. You're a survivor. And one day, you'll be the one helping someone else. That night, she went home and cried for the first time in 15 years. Not from sadness. From purpose. Year 9. Everything was in place. The files, the contacts, the evidence. She just needed the right moment. And then, it came. Richard's daughter was getting married. Big event. All his associates would be there. David Chen, James Cordell, even Marcus. All of them, in one place. The perfect stage. She told Richard she knew a great catering company. Affordable. Professional. He didn't ask questions. Why would he? She'd been loyal for 2 years. What he didn't know was that she owned the catering company. Under a different name. Through a shell corporation. She was going to walk right through his front door. And he was going to thank her for it. Type she's a genius if you're seeing the brilliance of this plan. The day of the wedding. Sunny. 72 degrees. Perfect. The mansion was decorated like something from a magazine. White flowers everywhere. String quartet playing. 300 guests. 4 men who had no idea their world was about to end. She wore a catering uniform. Hair pulled back. Plain face. Invisible. She moved through the crowd with trays of champagne, appetizers, smiles. Richard walked past her twice. Didn't even glance. David Chen thanked her for the drink. James Cordell was on his phone. Didn't acknowledge her existence. And Marcus. Marcus was by the bar. Same smile, same charm, talking to a young waitress who couldn't have been older than 19. She watched him work. The same routine, the same tactics. 20 years later, still hunting. At 7 p.m., the speeches started. Richard took the microphone, talked about his daughter, about family, about values. She stood in the back, hands steady, heart calm, and she sent a text to the journalist. Check your email. Everything you need. Published tonight. To the FBI agent. The evidence you've been looking for. Attached. They're all here. Same location. Then she walked outside, got in her car, and waited. 30 minutes later, the first police cars arrived. Then the FBI. Then the news vans. She watched from across the street as they brought them out in handcuffs. Richard, David, James, all of them. Marcus tried to run, made it to the garden before they tackled him. She allowed herself a small smile. The journalist's article went live at 9 p.m. By midnight, it was national news. By morning, it was everywhere. Photos, documents, testimonies from dozens of survivors who came forward. The case was airtight. Richard Vaughn, 45 years. David Chen, 50 years. James Cordell, life without parole. Marcus, 30 years. She didn't go to the trial. She didn't need to. She'd already won. If this gave you chills, type justice served right now. 6 months later, she's sitting in a small office. Across from her is a girl, 16, scared. Just escaped. The girl asks, "Will I ever feel normal again?" She reaches across the desk, takes her hand, and says the same thing someone once said to her. "You're not broken. You're a survivor. And one day, you'll be the one helping someone else." The girl cries. She cries too, because some stories don't end with revenge. They end with healing, with purpose, with becoming the person you needed when you were lost. She never told anyone she was the one who brought them down. She didn't need credit. She needed closure. And she got it. Her name still doesn't matter. What matters is this. She survived. She fought back. And she won. Not all ghosts are dead. Some are just waiting for the right moment to appear. If this story moved you, if it changed something in you, leave a comment. Share it. Let others know. Subscribe to Elderly Justice Stories for more calm, powerful stories about truth, patience, and justice. Because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear this. Someone needs to know they can survive too.